James, we'll start 140th birthday for Doncaster Rovers today. Just start off by asking, how was that first game away at Rawmarsh in 1879?
Yeah, to be fair, I get a lot of stick at training, so I thought you were going to say it's my 140th birthday. No, like you say, it's a massive achievement for the club and celebrated obviously through this season.
And during your time here, you've seen some remarkable changes. Could you just sum up how much the club has changed in those years that you've been?
Yeah, I mean, when I first joined, I knew at the time I was joining a club that had good ambition and 2 back-to-back promotions. Went to Bellevue, saw the ground and the state of the ground. Went to the training ground and things were on the up, but obviously they needed to move to the new stadium, and it was not a pipe dream, but it was in their plans. And 2 or 3 years down the line, the stadium, obviously we're sat on it now, so the stadium got built and we got promoted to the Championship, and the club's just gone from strength to strength. The infrastructure, everything around the club is or should be a Championship club, if you like, and it's definitely sort of improved in my 16 years here.
Could you ever have envisaged when you joined the success that you and the club would have had in that time with the promotions and how far you've come?
To an extent, yes, just based on the chairman at the time, John Ryan, his enthusiasm, his energy, and then obviously Terry and Dick came on board and took over and joined him, and the drive that they had for the club and the vision and where they could see the club going forward. It's become a reality, and along with the community work that the club's done over the last 3 or 4 years and the sort of restructure and the reshaping of the club, it's a fantastic place to be, not just for the players, for everybody involved in terms of the people that live around Doncaster. You see the stadium's always busy, people come in, if they're not playing football they're doing other things, the college, everything fit Rovers. There's so many different initiatives going on that engage within the community. And
it feels very apt, given the birthday, to have Darren Moore back as the manager in charge, having played and managed the club. He's some character, isn't he? And he gets the DNA of the club.
He does massively, and my first conversation with him was about that. He didn't just want to come here as a manager. He buys into everything that the club's about, and I think it's a great fit for the club and for him, and he's done a fantastic job so far, sort of bought into everything that the club have asked of him.
What do you remember from your playing days against each other? I did a bit of research and there was a few good Barnsley-Doncaster games back in the day.
Yeah, it's again, until you get to know somebody, you see them and take them at face value, and yeah, he was a very strong physical player to play against. Came up against him a few times. Felt a few of his challenges as well. I think I played in one game where Barnsley had 2 men sent off, and I remember running at him and he was giving me some. But it's strange to obviously be playing against somebody who's now your manager. It was the same with Grant McCann. He's a little bit different. Obviously, well, he's a lot different to him as a player, as a manager. He's been outstanding since he came in with me personally and with the team, and there's no ego there, there's no sort of it's about him, it's all about the team and the spirit, togetherness, and tactically him and Jamie have been different class.
Yeah, because clearly the results have gone pretty well so far this season. How has that knowledge and that experience helped him just to come in so seamlessly?
I think results and performances. I think it's not just results. I think the way we performed this season has been consistent as I've ever seen it, to be honest. He's come in again, like you said. There's been like a seamless transition from where we were last year, which when you lose the amount of players we've lost and the management and coaching staff that we lost, it's hard to believe that we are where we are. And it's again testament to him, his coaching staff, Paul Gerrard, who stayed on, Scoffs as well, and the lads that have come in, and the lads that have been recruited, the loan signings that we had last year in Malik Wilkes, Herbie Kane, people like that, we've replaced them. And yeah, the likes of Cameron John and Niall Ennis, Ben Sheaf have stood up and sort of just taken over from where the others left off.
Have you got an important role with helping them to learn their trade, particularly after, I know you're coming up against John Marquis again this weekend, but particularly after he's left, so the forward options are very young here now?
Yeah, I think personally it's about creating an environment which young players thrive in, and that's what we tried to do last season with the likes of Malik Wilkes and Herbie. If you ask them, I imagine they would say they enjoyed training, they enjoyed being part of a group that wanted to work hard and wanted to be successful, and it's exactly the same with the likes of Ben Whiteman, Ben Sheaf, Cameron, like the lads that I've just named, along with John Taylor, people like that have come in, Alfie Mayer. You want to create an environment in which people are improving, learning, growing, and they're not just coming in, taking their wage, going home, like a lot of teams do.
You mentioned Ben Whiteman there, who's obviously got the captain's armband at 23. What's the sort of relationship between you both been like as sort of club captain and team captain, and how impressed have you been with his leadership attributes?
He's been unbelievable. I mean, he's one of the best I've played with in terms of what he offers at a young age, both on and off the pitch. He's got an old head on young shoulders, and you can see this season and last season he's stood up to the plate and matured quickly. As a captain, he leads by example, day in, day out, the way he trains, the way he looks after himself. And you can see why clubs and other clubs have been interested in him. He's such a massive, integral part of this football club and what we do in terms of how we play. So I've been very impressed with him. My relationship with him is, he's like a brother, if you like. He's a character off the pitch, you know. He doesn't lack confidence. He's very sort of quick to stamp down on anything that goes loose. He has high standards. He demands from players, which again is a great attribute to have at 23. I can't remember at 23 if I even thought like that. So yeah, again, you can see why people have been interested in him, and it's fantastic for the club to keep him for this season and next, I think.
Bit of a good cop, bad cop relationship then with some of the players sometimes?
Ben?
Well, with you and him and
yeah, I think we have a great relationship within the squad. I think obviously being 38, 39, I'm way off where they are, 23. Most of our squad is sort of 25-ish, and there's a lot of lads younger as well. So it's a difficult one, but at the same time, they keep me young massively, and I thrive in it. I really enjoy the relationships we have, not just with Ben, but with all the lads. We have a good working relationship when we train, and we demand from one another. But off the pitch, yeah, there's a lot of banter that goes about, and Ben's usually at the forefront of it.
You must be pleased with how this season started for you personally as well. A couple of assists, 3 goals as well. Do you feel at the peak of your powers still? I know we seem to talk about this every time we speak to you.
Yeah, I know, and like you said, the older I get, every time I have an interview I say the same things, but I do feel good, and I do feel like, especially with this manager coming in, he's managed me in the right way so far this season. I do get, I wouldn't say preferential treatment, but I get sort of time off. I do get time to rest and recover. Not like last year, it was a little bit different under Grant, where I sort of did everything that everybody else did. Whereas this season, I've had a few days off here and there, which hasn't gone down well just jokingly with a few of the lads. But yeah, I feel like, especially Saturday, sort of 97 minutes felt good. I think I ran the second furthest in the team, 11k. So it just shows that with me still feeling fit, it's backed up with me contributing as well. Like you say, scoring goals, getting into advanced positions. John Marquis leaves. We need people to step up and start scoring goals. And that's something that I've tried to do, and like you say, hopefully this season I can do that.
I think I make it 636 this weekend, if I've done my maths right. What still drives you right now in terms of football, playing professional football?
That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of things that drive me, but I think the main thing is the enjoyment. I actually really, really enjoy playing football still. I get as much enjoyment now than I did when I was younger. I think I've said this in previous interviews that I have two young boys and a young girl, but my two big boys are 11 and 12, and sort of knowing that they're there on a match day is a massive motivation for me, because I know that they'll go to school or wherever they go, their dad's a professional footballer, so it adds a little bit of pressure, but it also motivates me. I take both teams, so I coach both teams, and get a lot of satisfaction out of it. So my motivation is to keep going, not just for them, but for me and for the players that I'm associated with as well.
Sounds to me like you might be playing beyond this season, James. Inevitable question about the future, and have you thought about that a lot already?
I have. I mean, last season, leading into the off season, again it's year to year. So for me, I was looking at this year being my last year, if I'm being honest. Just again, for no other reason than I'm getting older. So I'm 39 in January, and it's like, I don't want to, not bore people, but I don't want to just go on for the sake of going on. Like, I just feel like, you know what I mean, there's got to be a time when things stop, but at the same time I do feel like I'm getting better, or I have got better than last season in terms of my output and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I feel like if that's the case, I don't see why I should, I know I keep saying it, but I don't see why I should just stop playing. If the manager came to me and said, look, you've done really well this season, would you like to sign another contract, then I can't see why I wouldn't right now. But things might change, you know. Football is such a cutthroat industry. You don't know what's around the corner, so that's why I say even at 23, 24, you still can't take things for granted, and you don't know what might happen. So for me at 38, 39, it's just take each game as it comes. Cliche, I know, but that's how I'm gonna work, and I have done for the last 4 years.
Just a final word from me. Coming up against John Marquis this weekend, it'll be interesting. Obviously, he wanted to play Championship football. He still wants to play Championship football, and moved on. Are you looking forward to facing him this weekend? And does the fact that you all know him so well help you in preparing for the game?
I think to an extent it does. I think John needed to leave. I think the time was right. I think he'd done fantastic for this club. When we signed him in League Two, he was the perfect fit. We needed somebody like him who was going to score goals and demand every day. Like I just said about Ben, John was the same. His standards were really high, and he demanded from everybody. And for the last 2-3 seasons, he was outstanding. So it was the timing was right. He's left, and yeah, it'll be interesting to pit our wits against him. The two centre halves will be looking forward to it. Tom as well. Obviously, Tom worked with him all last season. Don a little bit different, but yeah, we'll be looking forward to him. Hopefully, he won't score, and we can put in a good performance.
Thanks, James.
Cheers.
You mentioned sort of what Darren had done for you in terms of structuring your week, but what sort of other differences has he brought to you since he's took over?
I don't know. I think he's. I obviously was at Newcastle with Sir Bobby Robson, and I see massive similarities between the two in terms of their man management. He's so sort of calm and enthusiastic, and the way he comes across is unbelievable for me. It's something like, say, I don't think I've experienced it since Sir Bobby, and he handed me my debut. I was in and around the first team for 2 seasons, and yeah, it's a pleasure to come in every day. I'm learning at 38. He's been massive for the younger lads, tactically as well as sort of motivational. So I think just on a personal level, managing me and communicating with me in the right ways has helped me.
Do you think it's underestimated, that making it sort of a welcoming environment and a place where people want to come?
I think so, yeah. I think if you ask any player within our squad, I think they'll say the same thing. I think you look forward to coming in. There's no hidden agendas, there's no egos. Everybody's on a level playing field, and it's something he made apparent when he first came in. It doesn't matter who you are, if you get an opportunity and you're in and you make it your own, then you'll stay in. So I think everybody's sort of warm to him as a person and as a manager, and it shows in our performances. I think we've been so consistent and together, not just with the 11 that have started, but with the whole squad, the lads that have come in. I.e. Don last week, sort of stepping in after Cammy sort of got injured in the week. He stepped up, and I thought he was magnificent to say that he'd come in at that late notice.
You mentioned tactically as well, and Donovan said to us after the game last week how meticulous Darren is in such preparation and getting you ready on the training ground. And would you go along with that?
100%, and I think it's not just him. I think the other staff as well, John Schofield and Civi as well. They've been unbelievable, and the way they communicate, the way they want us to play, and the way they explain things. We have meetings. Obviously, we've had meetings in the past, but there's a little bit more structure to the meetings, and I feel like the lads are buying into it and understanding what's expected of them, which you can see again in the way we're performing.
In terms of this, you're getting sort of days off and stuff like that. Do you feel that you'd have benefited from that earlier in your career over the last few years, or?
I think sometimes it's difficult to say. I've played 40 something games for the last 17 seasons, so my body's used to training and playing and doing it. So I didn't want to change anything that I've been doing over the last sort of 15, 16 years, and it's difficult to not train when you feel like you can. It's difficult to not want to join in a shooting exercise when you know you can, but obviously with the ankle injuries that I've had in the past and with things that are going on with it, I know that I can't do that. So you learn to manage different bits and pieces, but if the manager's pulling you out and the manager's taking that responsibility away from you as an individual, then it's so much better, because you literally you can't do it, and it's worked. I mean, I do feel fresh when I have played, and again, the sports scientists have said the same thing. It's your stats are really good, the distance that you're covering, everything's sort of looking good. So yeah, long may it continue.
How are you coping with these days off? I saw you in summer running really early and stuff like that. How are you coping with not doing anything? Yeah,
it is difficult, and it is, as much as people will say, like, why move by, you've had a day off here and there, and nice to see you, and it is. I do find it a little bit strange, I'll be honest. Been off on a Monday, maybe, and I do enjoy it. I mean, taking the kids to school and spending a little bit more time with them, and it's not just physical, it's mental as well, like taking your mind away from football, and then having to come in on Tuesday and be back at it. I feel like I'm fresher within myself, and it might be different if we're getting different results, but I don't think it would. I think the gaffer's consistent with his approach, and regardless of the result, if it's the right thing to do, I think that he'll stick by it.
You'd spoken before about the mental aspect of it and your kids, and sort of that were kind of making you consider your future and stuff like that, so that's given you sort of the opportunity to do a bit of both.
I think so, yeah. I think, I don't know whether that was purposely done, but I feel like it has done that. In more, like, I just feel like on a Monday after a Sunday recovery, I can do what I want to do or need to do, like within my own sort of environment. And yeah, the gaffer so far said that to me, and I think he's been sort of helped by Rob and Walshy, like the sports science guys, sort of looking at how best to get me out there on a Saturday fresh, instead of training me Monday, Tuesday hard, and then Thursday, Friday. I don't really need to be doing that. A lot of the tactical work he pulls me out of, if we're running and it's off the ball stuff, that I can do in the classroom and watch it on the video.
A knock-on effect for your sort of training week all through week last season was that you'd probably get to 70 minutes and be brought off.
Yeah.
Is that? Were you feeling it at that point? Did you feel like?
I've never felt it at that point. No, yeah. It's not something where I get to that. Maybe it's last season, because I'd done it for so many games. My body's conditioned to play 70 minutes, and then it sort of not gets tired. But I don't feel like at 38 that I can't play 90 minutes. That was never down to me. That was the manager's choice, not mine. I'm not going to argue with that. That's fair enough if that's how he wants to do things. And there's other people that can come on, but I never felt like at 70 minutes I was done. It was almost like that's just the way it is. Deal with it. I'm getting 70 minutes. It's a squad game, a team game. Just get on with it. I never sort of had a conversation with him. It'll be the same with this manager. If he feels like he's going to play me for 70, 80, 60, whatever it is, I'll do what I can.
You've talked in past, particularly there's been a few managers who have changed over the last few years, that it gets to a summer and you feel like you've got to prove yourself again to a new manager. Did you have that again this summer? Or?
Yeah, I did, definitely. But at the same time, the manager reassured me of what he thought of me and what he knew of me. I know obviously he's got people, staff still here, so he'd speak to them, but at the same time, you have to sort of show it day in, day out. I mean, I think Grant McCann came in and I don't think he envisaged, or I don't think he thought that I was going to be as fit and as strong as I was. I think he came in thinking that I wouldn't be able to train and do what I did. In fact, I know that because I had that conversation with him, but I imagine the gaffer, I don't think he'll have thought the same, but I think he'd be surprised by what I can do and what I am doing at 38, 39. But again, you always feel like you have to justify it and prove to the new guy that, look, this is what I'm doing, this is how I do it. And just keep doing it, otherwise you'll end up going the other way, I think.